So you got lots of games. How do you keep them organized?
You can't fit them just in a closet.
Let's give you some tips on how to keep those games organized and nice.
So let me give you a tip, since we're going to go that route. So one of the things I like to do with my games is and this is somewhat more than just how I keep it organized, is how I keep them staying together, right? Mm-hmm. So for instance, Robo Rally, right? Mm-hmm. Thin cardboard pieces. Go through, get yourself a nice little laminator and laminate all those pieces. Mm. You do it on, I'm thinking of a lot of games that are out there that we've played, the Pathfinder games with the cards, right? Because you have to write on the cards and stuff. So go ahead and laminate that, grease pencil it, cut the corners nice, a nice round edge on there. And you can reuse it all the time, doesn't fall apart. If it ever starts to split again, you just run it right through that heat thing again, and it binds it all back together. So that's just one of the tricks that I use.
Yeah, that's cool. I've got an older game, Mystery of the Abbey, that's got a Clue-like game where it's got the pad that you tear off. And so one of them, the guy that I traded for had laminated that thing. And so that was cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so a tip for me is go to the dollar store, the cheap dollar store where everything's a buck.
Favorite place.
And they've got these headbands for girls. Now follow me, right? So they got these headbands that are the fabric type rubber bands, but they're big, right? And you can stretch them out. I buy them, they're like $6 for $1, and then you wrap them around your board game. It holds the components tight, and then I'm able to store my boxes vertically. And so instead of the box slowly creeping apart or stuff rattling around, you can do that. Now they have other board game rubber bands that are made specifically for that, but they're expensive and they're hard to find sometimes. So for me, I just like these cheap little headbands. Every time I'm in the Dollar Tree, I walk down that aisle. If they see some, if they're there, I grab them and take them home.
How big will those expand, do you know?
I would say a normal, maybe Ticket to Ride box, a Fantasy Flight typical style square box that gets at that. Anything bigger than that, it's not going to work, so you might need something else. But for typical regular game size, they work great.
One thing I like to do is plastic organizers, and I know that there's millions of them out there, so how do you get... But the one thing for instance, last year or so, you handed me a bunch of those. They're like the 3-pack that you'd bought. And they're about this big, and it holds just like the perfect amount for a couple of the games that I have. So I just put all the tokens inside that thing and have it clamped together, and it fits in there all nice and organized. Works perfectly. So if you can get those relatively inexpensive, which you can during when school starts up, when the new semester starts up. Also, I've noticed near Christmas, that type of thing, you get those plastic organizers cheap. And they're great for that. And another thing is that the bigger ones you can use for Descent. If you buy any of the extra pieces for it, like some of us might do.
All of the extra pieces?
All the extra pieces. Where are you going to put them? Because they don't fit in the box. So you get one of those nice shoe box size ones. You just fit them in there. Yeah. Works perfectly.
Yeah, every time I'm at a Lowe's, Home Depot, a hardware store, I always walk down that aisle, and I've seen them clearance them out before, and so I got a whole bunch of them for $1 a piece.
Sure. And then, of course, the dollar store.
Yeah. There you go. So for me, another idea is foam board or foam core. I don't know what you call it, but you can get this at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, even the Dollar Tree sells a version of it now. But you take this foam core. I won't tell you how to do all this stuff. There's better people out on YouTube that tell you how to make this stuff, but you can slice it up in all kinds of fun ways, and then you glue it together. I use just regular Elmer's glue with some push pins. I sink that thing together, and then I can make a custom insert for my board games, and just makes it fun. It's an easy well, not easy, but it's a fun Saturday afternoon. I can't get together with you guys to play. I can make an insert for one of my games. It's custom, it's fun, and it's relatively inexpensive.
Well, I know it helps a lot too, because I know we used to play the regular Mansions of Madness. There were so many cards that you had all these slots that you could put in there, and that was really cool. Or for Firefly, that type of game, fantastic. So that's a really neat thing. If you're like me, you're outgrowing the space that your games are in, so sometimes they're creeping out into different parts of the house, and the wife doesn't like that at all. If you can get one of these coffee tables that are pretty cool, that the lid opens up, it has the hidden compartment where you can slide a bunch of games in there. That's a pretty neat thing. Now, that's expensive, don't get me wrong, but you can find them at Sam's and that type of thing. Very, very good. If you purchase it, you're going to love it, because you could probably hide, from what I can see in there, you probably can get 12 games in there. Pretty good place.
Hide it away. Okay, for me, I would tell you to download some apps and use some websites for your games, right? There's an app that you can download that would actually track every single game that you play, which is a fun thing at the end of the year, so you can go back and track number of plays, you can track who you played with, you can even go back and see who won, how many points they won by. So the only negative to these things, it's only as good as what you put into it. So if you forget a play, you can't remember who won, things like that, it's not going to do that. But you can go back and look at all that stuff. Now, Board Game Geek, although to its I don't know, to the newbies horror, it can be a terrible website to navigate. But if you get past the initial learning curve, and it's not that difficult really, but you can log every game that you own, expansions, wish list items, all kinds of cool stuff that website has. And I'm telling you, if I need to know something about a board game, I'm going to that website to look it up first. And so just get over the hump, the learning curve, and use that. So apps and websites, take use of those.
Yeah, Board Game Geek is fantastic. I mean, I know it's got an old school feel to it when you get to it, and you're having to, it's hard to route around it. But all in all, the information that's in there is outstanding.
Yep, totally.
Okay. Here's the number one perfect thing. I know you all probably do this, but baggies.
You gotta get plastic baggies.
Can't go wrong with baggies.
Yeah.
What did you mention? How you just said there's a little trick?
What I do is I buy. You can buy these bags on the internet super cheap, but then I buy just a simple one hole punch. You get at the store, old school. You buy the little one-handed hole punch. I get one of those, and then you punch the bag, and so then it lets all the air out of it. So I don't know if you've had this before. You shove all these components in this bag. It's full of puffed up air, and you got to squeeze the air out. This just lets the air out. You're not trying to keep in freshness of anything. You're just trying to hold it together. So do that, and it makes it easier.
There you go.
Okay, and tell us about your idea for board game expansion boxes.
Okay, so one thing is that with all these games that you buy, and I'm a big expansion person. I love getting as much as possible. That's good or bad, I don't know. But I'd seen where this one guy had mounted all of his boxes on the wall, so it was almost like it almost looked like art on the wall. And if you think about all the great art that's out there on the covers, it's fantastic. So he had it placed all around and everything looked really, really good. So that's a possible thing that you can do with those boxes. Yeah,
and I actually saw one guy, what he did was he put something that he wanted to have close reach, like baggies. He actually put them in the expansion box that was sitting right there. So it had something that was really close. You could hide dice. You might hide little game pieces or little items in those expansion boxes. Sure. So it looks good on the shelf, but then take it off. Here's my baggies to do that. Fantastic. So it makes it useful. All right.
I think I've got most everything. How about yourself?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got, man. So tell us in the comments. Let us know, what do you do? What are some tips and tricks that you have to keeping your board game collection organized and held together? Protect them. Let us know down in the comments. And,
all right.
Subscribe to our channel and like this video. Hit the thumbs up. It helps us out so much. And as always,
support your local hobby shop.
Do it.